Okay, hi everyone. Hope the rain is not too loud. I don't know, I was really inclined to film in the car today. I just got back from an acupuncture session and just decided to stay in the car and film. Well, you caught me. I had to go upstairs to pee. I committed to the cause. I feel like the rain is really nice and calming. Hopefully it's not way too loud and it's more like ASMR-y. I've been keeping a running list on my phone for the past week or two, just of things that have been going on in my life that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. I will say this is definitely like a self-care type of video, and definitely gonna be talking about a lot of the things that I've been doing lately that feel like a warm hug, and they feel like really happy, positive things that I've been doing to take care of myself lately. I definitely go through phases, like I feel like everybody does, of getting really into self-care and self-help stuff, and then I'll like fall out of that phase, and then I'll come back into the phase and I'll fall back out of the phase. So I wanted to just update you guys with some of the things that I have been doing. Oh, first, let me show you my nails because I'm obsessed. I used to have gel extensions for like 2 years and I hadn't removed them, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna lean into the natural nail moment. And so I did that, and I've been like growing out my natural nails, and they've gotten really long, and then I've cut them again. But right now I've just been doing like a layer of hard gel on top of my nails, and I've been going to a new nail tech. I'm obsessed with her. Her Instagram's Nails by Fresita, and please look at these cutie patooties. How fucking cute are these? I'm obsessed. I just did like a silver metallic, and then she did with gel on top these like water looking bubbles that are 3D, and honestly for like sensory stuff these are amazing. Like I feel like they're like fidget spinners for me, even though they don't move. Like every time I'm like fidgeting or like I'm anxious, like it's just so nice to like play with my nails and like go like this. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up my list. Oh, I also got a new phone. I had an iPhone 11 since the iPhone 11 came out. I'm really not good at like updating my technology. I like went to a couple of events with Teffy and I was taking photos of her on my phone, and it was in that moment that I realized I was basically using like an easy bake oven to take pictures. For some reason, tell me if I'm like the only person that feels this way, but for some reason going to an Apple store, well, we're not doing that, but going to like a cell phone provider store gives me anxiety. I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened to me at a young age at a fucking AT&T, because like I hate going. Also, my screen, whatever it's called, my wallpaper is Lauren Martin. I'm obsessed with her. You can download her monthly, what is Meadow texting me? Right, okay, Meadow texting me that she's been using the word poignant incorrectly. Anyway, Lauren Martin has really fun backgrounds. Her one from March is adorable. You can also download the widgets, so it like has it in the middle there with the calendar. Anyway, it's real fucking cute. Let me tell you about what's been going on in my life, starting with the fact that I am a fucking idiot. I went to my doctor a couple weeks ago. We were just talking about my period, talking about how heavy it is, talking about how crampy it is, talking about PCOS, all the things. She was like, look, let me give you this herbal supplement, and I am refraining from telling you what that supplement does for comedic effect at the end of the story. I get my period. Anyway, I'm having like fucking basically like almost having fainting spells essentially, but I'm like getting so dizzy all the time. I'm calling Zoe being like, I feel like I'm gonna pass out doing like normal things. At this point I had had my period for almost 10 days, and like my period lasts between like 5 to 7 days, but 10 days is psychotic. Like I'm not a doctor, but I just feel like you shouldn't be bleeding for that many days. I go to bed thinking about this. I wake up in a panic because I'm like, oh my god, the pills that my doctor gave me, those herbal supplements, she told me to stop taking them the day that I got my period. What was I doing? I was taking those same pills 3 times a day throughout my entire period. I text my doctor immediately on Saturday morning, and I'm like, listen doc, I know I'm dumb, please don't tell me that because I'm already aware. She goes, and I quote, oh god, stop taking the pills now. No one ever wants to hear a sentence from your doctor that starts in oh god. She's like, you're fine. The herbal supplements are blood movers, so it's probably just like a lot of old blood. Sorry, this is like, I should have put like a trigger warning that I'm gonna be talking about like periods and blood. If this grosses you out, fast forward throughout what I'm saying. So anyway, I basically made myself anemic for no fucking reason because I didn't follow instructions. So that's been my last almost 2 weeks now. Yeah, that happened. What's next on my list of things that I wanted to update you guys on? Please, if you are interested in manifestation or are curious about it, go listen to this week's podcast episode. I'll link it in the description down below. We had Jessica Gill, who is the podcast host of the Expanded Podcast, which is the podcast from To Be Magnetic. To Be Magnetic is essentially the place to learn about manifestation. They have incredible workshops. Their theory and philosophy is all rooted in the science and psychology behind manifestation, of course with spirituality sprinkled throughout. I love it. I just started a To Be Magnetic workshop myself. Meadow has been screaming about TBM forever. If you're interested, for sure go listen to the Expanded Podcast and see if that's something that resonates with you. But my boyfriend and I are taking the workshops. One of the reasons that I am so obsessed with TBM is because ever since I did the Hoffman process, which if you listen to the podcast, you have heard me talk about the Hoffman process so many times. The Hoffman process is essentially, it's a conversation for another day, but I basically call it like a week-long therapy camp. You're doing a lot of guided meditations, a lot of visualizations, and it's all rooted in understanding your patterns and where those come from. Is it from mom? Is it from dad, your primary caretaker? And just understanding how all of those patterns are developed in childhood and the way that they're manifesting in your life and playing out in your life today, and sort of going through that cycle of transformation of, you know, having that awareness, having that compassion and forgiveness, and then being able to introduce new behaviors through rewiring neural pathways in order for you to live a life that's not essentially on autopilot. That is a very shortened and probably totally butchered explanation of the Hoffman process, but I will say I did it when I was 22 years old. It changed my life. If that's something that you guys are interested in hearing more about, I'm super happy to do a YouTube video about it. Maybe we can do a Q&A about it. I recorded a Hoffman episode for the podcast, I think like in season 1. So if you like go dig and find it, it's probably in there somewhere. But anyway, like I was saying, the point of why I'm bringing up Hoffman is because since I went to Hoffman, I haven't been able to find a therapist that uses similar enough modalities, or I haven't found workshops that use similar enough modalities that resonate with me, because nothing has resonated with me in the way that Hoffman has. That guided meditation, visualization, almost like hypnotic sort of meditation in order to rewire those neural pathways, like nothing has worked for me in the way that Hoffman has. And so when I started TBM and I started looking into the workshop and what those workshops entail, I freaked out because I was like, oh my God, this shit is so similar to Hoffman. TBM, their manifestation is all rooted in the idea that manifestation, it all goes back to our self-worth, and we're manifesting from our subconscious. And of course they have like the giant disclaimer of, you didn't manifest abuse, you didn't manifest discrimination, hatred, all the bad things that have happened in your life. Like, you did not manifest that. Like, there are things that are out of our control. It's more so saying, even if your conscious mind is like, I want this, I'm trying to manifest it, if your subconscious is not also on board with the idea that you deserve it, that you're worth it, if you're not manifesting from that high self-worth from your subconscious, it's not going to be happening. And even if it is happening, it might not be happening to the magnitude that you would actually truly like, or that is meant for you. And so because of that, their workshops are not just like, here is a way for you to write a list of all the things you want to manifest. It's about getting into that work of healing your inner child, of reconciling with your shadow, and really getting into that nitty-gritty of the programming that we have. Needless to say, I'm fucking obsessed. I'm hooked. And the more that we work on it, the more that we've like found other people in our lives that are also doing, that I've also done it in the past or are doing it right now. So that's been really fun and exciting. So I'm really into it. Okay, what else? I feel like this video is gonna be so long. Oh my God. Okay, I got a human design chart reading. I had never done this, and you are talking to somebody who has done 101 astrological chart readings. I've met with psychics, I've met with mediums, I've met with healers, intuitives, whatever, you name it, I've done it. I have not done my human design, and I've been so interested in doing it. Human design, to my understanding, is essentially the blueprint of how you are meant to be navigating the material world. And it's essentially like a guidebook that explains why you are the way that you are, and it helps you pinpoint your strengths in order to move through the world. I have friends who are total skeptics that are like, everything that you do is silly when it comes to, you know, understanding your astrological chart or whatever. And I feel like talking to them, telling them about human design, they would just be saying the same thing of like, okay, sick, great, you like understand yourself more, but like what does that actually do? But from a practical perspective, human design is literally the definition of working smarter, not harder. So even if you don't believe in all this stuff, I would recommend you looking into human design and actually having a meeting with someone who does those readings and then seeing how you feel, because the way that it is applicable into every facet of your life, whether it's your career or your relationships, whatever it is, put it this way, I did that and was like, holy shit, I wish that I did this first. I think if you're getting into understanding yourself more and doing that sort of work, I really recommend doing human design very early on and understanding your human design very early on, because I think it is just so fucking powerful. And by the way, let me just tell you the way that this came about. I was recording the podcast episode with Jessica from TBM and Meadow, and we had just wrapped up recording. I don't think this part made it on air. And they were talking about their human design, and I was like, I've never done it. I'm so curious. I'm so interested about it. Whatever. We finished recording. I'm sitting on the toilet peeing, checking my DMs as one does, and what do I see at the top? A DM from someone being like, hey, I read people's human design. I would love to read your chart for you. Let me know if it's something you're interested in. And I responded to her and told her what had just happened, and I'm like, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. So anyway, I had a reading with Rebecca. I will link all of her information down below, and it was amazing and so great, and she's so kind and really just walked me through everything in a very practical and digestible way, which I love. I definitely want to have her on the podcast, and I'm working on getting Patreon a code. If you guys don't know, Meadow and I have a Thoughts May Vary Patreon where we post a ton of exclusive content, new episodes, exclusive vlogs. They get access to everything first. They get codes, merch, everything first. Patreon eats first always. Check the link in the description if that's something you're interested in. I will write it in here somewhere, like a yes or a no, if I was able to get that code. But regardless, I'll leave all of Rebecca's info down below because I thought it was so amazing and wonderful, and I'm obsessed with her, and I really 10 out of 10 recommend doing your human design. Okay, that was a mouthful and I'm winded. Okay, last thing I want to talk to you guys about, because we're talking about manifestation earlier. I toured my dream house this weekend. So backstory, growing up, my mom used to take my sister and I to so many open houses just for fun, just to dream, and it was always the best time. And I haven't done that since I was a little kid. And my boyfriend and I love driving through amazing, beautiful neighborhoods in LA and just dreaming and manifesting. We love taking walks through these neighborhoods and just looking at houses. And this weekend we did that. We were in a neighborhood for something else, but there's this one little pocket of that neighborhood that I have not driven through. Heard about this neighborhood, but I've never gone through it. So we mapped it and we went. And when I tell you that I feel like I was just sucked into a vortex, it reminded me so much of the neighborhood that I grew up in. It just felt so cozy. And we were driving around looking at these houses, and I was so surprised at how many houses were for sale or new builds there were in the area, just because this is an area that you would think like you don't move out of. Zoe and I have similar-ish tastes when it comes to houses. He doesn't care, frankly, as much as I do, because I'm very particular. But like, it's not like we look at houses and we're both like, oh my god, that house. It's like usually me being like, oh my god, look at that house, or him being like, oh my god, look at that house. We both at the same time were like, holy fucking shit, look at that house. We pull the car over. I literally started tearing up, okay? And I saw that there was a for sale sign outside. I get out of the car and I'm like standing in front of this house, just like teary-eyed, being like, this is my fucking Pinterest board, straight up, like in front of my face. And we Zillow it. Beyond expensive, because I'm a tourist, obviously. When I was looking through the pictures on Zillow, I have never seen a house that is so my taste manifested in front of me. Even when like, because I sit and go on Zillow all day, every day. Let me just tell you, it's one of my favorite things to do. Am I planning on buying a house anytime soon? Absolutely not. Do I still love to do it? All the fucking time. But I've never seen a house where I'm like, I would move in tomorrow. Like, I would live here. I would raise a family in this house. Like, this is my future home. Which, like, listen, it's not going to be, at least right now, because I'm not planning on starting a family anytime soon. I'm not, or at least in the next foreseeable future. Mom, relax if you're watching. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. It's not like we're actually moving in right now, but who knows? Maybe that could be the neighborhood that I live in. Maybe that house goes for sale when I'm looking to move into a home. Or Or, like we learned in TBM, it's just another expander for me. It's just another way of getting me closer to that manifestation. And so anyway, I go home and I can't stop thinking about this house. This is on Saturday. I check the Zillow again and I scroll down and I'm like, holy fuck, there's an open house tomorrow. We have to go. We have to go. So I tell Zoe, I'm like, we're going, we're gonna pretend like we're buying a house and we're gonna go. We are going to go. And now look, for anybody being like, you're wasting the realtor's time. Like, it was an open house. I didn't make an appointment with the realtor. There was an open house and we were going, okay? And we both decided on the way there, we were like, we were listening to an episode of the Expanded podcast and we both were like, we're just gonna walk into that house and feel what it feels like if we were really gonna be there to buy it. And just reminding ourselves, like, we belong, we are deserving, we are worthy, like, we could have this. I was walking through every room telling him like the different things that I would change. I feel like my architectural digest brain just like turned on and I was like, we would tile the shit out of this, wallpaper that. Every bathroom I was just like dreaming about the freaking wallpaper that I could put in there and the tile that I could put in the sink that I could replace it with. But it was just so fun. And if that's something that you guys really like to do, I would really recommend doing it, especially because now we have a point of reference. And that's something else that they talk a lot about in TBM is getting yourself that expander, getting yourself that point of reference. And I'm definitely the type of manifestor that I think they call in human design, it's called passive manifestor, where I manifest more on a feeling than like a very specific thing. Obviously I'm particular and I have certain things in my brain, but I go off more of a feeling of what I want the home to feel like, what I want that to bring to me and my family. I go more off that. Having that point of reference when I'm manifesting to be like, oh, I remember what it feels like to be in that house because I've already been there. I've already felt it. I've already smelled it. I've already touched the materials. I've driven into the driveway. Having all those points of reference, I feel like make your manifestation so much. They're expanders. They make your manifestation so much more tangible. So anyway, that was so fun. I had the time of my life. It put me in the best mood. Neither of us were like stressed after being like, how are we gonna afford this one day? And how are we gonna, like, it was just a fun time. I definitely recommend in general just finding those expanders for your manifestation. I think we talk about expanders in the podcast episode, and if not, definitely go listen to the Expanded podcast. They have a whole how to manifest with Lacey Phillips on the podcast with Jessica. You are going so fast, sir. We're in a residential neighborhood. Did you see that? The audacity, the gall. This video is already going to be so long, so I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to take that car that sped by me as a sign to shut the fuck up. But anyway, I just felt really energized to talk to you guys about a bunch of the stuff that's been going on and fill you in. I hope this was cozy and not distracting with the sounds of the rain. I really liked filming in here. It's kind of a mood, kind of a vibe. So let me know if you want more car chats because maybe we can make that a thing. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I am going to drive back home because I was like, I don't want to film directly in front of my apartment building. Yeah, it might be a little weird. So I just took a little drive. I'm gonna drive back home and I'm gonna go get soup dumplings tonight, which I'm so fucking excited about. If you're in LA, go to Din Tai Fung. It's so good. If you're visiting LA, go. But go with time because there's always, you'll get there and you'll be like, how long is the wait? You're like 3 hours. You're like fucking amazing. And then you wait because it's worth it. I hope you guys are taking time to recharge and energize, however that may look for you. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Thank you again for watching. Ciao.